This is Austin Liddy Limits, where authors talk to authors about books and the craft of storytelling. Sponsored by Blue Ink Review, because typing "the end" is just the beginning. Find out more at blueinkreview.com. Ordinary Bear by C.B. Bernard is a darkly funny novel about a man healing from the death of his daughter, who sets out to save the life of a missing girl in hopes of making amends for the tragedy that took his own daughter's life. A reading by C.B. Bernard.
I am C.B. Bernard. This is my novel, Ordinary Bear. This is a scene from near the beginning of the book. Each night on her bus ride home from work, Lissa noted the other homeless camps throughout the city. There were many of them, of varying sizes and configurations. Some included the shells of stripped cars or vans, one a ramshackle cabin built out of pallets, and one even boasted a bright blue porta-potty some enterprising resident had stolen and engineered a way to relocate. But the one on her block had grown dramatically bigger than the rest, with dozens of residents arriving seemingly every night. She'd been keeping track of their comings and goings in a notebook, methodological, scientific. She noted and recorded an increase in drug use, a parallel increase in the flagrance of it, people shooting up on the wet curb during what passed for daylight, smoking heroin beside a fire lit on the public sidewalk, dealing in the great wide open. The rain seemed to provide cover for their activity. Rather, it facilitated their boldness by keeping everyone else under cover and out of sight. She called TriMet again. They referred her to the police. She called the police again. They referred her to the mayor's office. She called the mayor's office, but her calls went unanswered, the voicemail box already full. Her next call would be to the newspaper or one of the TV stations, Fox News maybe. Though she despised the network and all it stood for, its highly calibrated sense of alarmism and opposition to all liberal points of pride meant it would at least pick up the story and rally an army of aggrieved flag wavers to bombard City Hall with complaints and grievances about the mayor's embrace of the underhomed. She had some empathy for the campers. Hell, at any given moment, she was only a paycheck or two away from eviction herself, and she recognized a high degree of mental illness among them from her observation. Addiction, veterans suffering PTSD. She'd always felt something for the homeless. If not empathy exactly, it wasn't pity either. Not exactly. Like most Portlanders, she saw them as a necessary part of urban life and a symptom of the city's laudable progressive tendencies. But the problem had grown until it overran Portland, and soon the homeless were panhandling relentlessly in city squares, sleeping in the doorways of shops and markets, squatting in neighborhood parks, and bathing in urban creeks and ponds. On the TV news and in the local papers, the statistics staggered her. Portland alone had almost 4,000 homeless residents, and enough shelter space for just half of them. And now they'd taken over her bus stop. Their behavior had inured her to their plight. They'd sanded the edges off her empathy, and she feared they were making her a bad person. Housing advocates said the homeless deserved dignity just like the rest of us, and Lissa wanted to believe that. But where was the dignity of the man with his pants around his ankles, grinning up at her window while shitting into the storm drain across the street?
This has been a presentation of Austin Liddy Limits, made possible with help from our good friends at Blue Ink Review, where typing "the end" is just the beginning. Find out more at blueinkreview.com.